That's another thing. I think one of the presidential candidates was accused of being part of this world domination that Christians have of taking over their areas in government and the arts and music and all that stuff. So I'm wondering, do you think it's because people are preoccupied with the immense closeness of the coming of the Lord right now, or there are other things that are...
Well, let's address that first, because that's always been around even in the hippie days. That
right.
attitude is there. And a lot of hippies got accused of the fact, well, you're just sitting around waiting for the rapture, and you're not doing anything. But it wasn't true. We were doing a lot. And most people were very oriented toward going out and sharing our faith. And I'm sure that attitude does exist with a lot of people today that do think it's short, and it's God will take care of it, that type of attitude. So, but I really don't know. I can just, I don't know. The people I talk to, I don't see a lot of that, where people express that to me and say that that's how they feel. And I'm sure that exists out there now, probably even more than ever. But I think a lot of it is that a lot of the reason that we've lost that zeal is because a lot of the stuff that's being preached now, I call it the perceived and the unperceived church. Perceived church are the television preachers, the people that you see. And what I mean by that is that's how the world judges what Christians are, because they turn on the TV and they see these evangelists, or they see Joel Osteen, or they see whoever it is on TV. They're not looking at the faithful remnant, the unseen church that's out there that's not on TV. See, it's the same thing with music. A lot of people think, well, Christian music, that's Michael W. Smith. Well, that's a part of it. Stephen Curtis Chapman. But there's a lot of really good Christian music out there that nobody hears because it isn't popular. So the same thing can happen with people's perception of the church. Now, the problem with the perceived church that I see in general, again, it's my opinion, and it's not necessarily every church that is a mega church, but there's a movement toward the self-help thing. Like the messages aren't really about sin or the gospel or getting the gospel out. It's about how I can be better, or I can improve my life. That's an important thing to everybody too, but it isn't necessarily the most important thing we can preach from the pulpit. So it creates a lot of laziness. What I call the seeker-sensitive movement has been a really negative thing in my opinion, where we cater to the non-Christian by making the service so inoffensive that, it's exactly opposite of what Jesus did. Jesus walked in with the Pharisees and said, you whitewashed tombs, you're dead on the inside, but you look really pretty on the outside. And he was called it I recommend something to you. There's a movie out that's called The Gospel of John. Now there's a couple of them that have been done, but there's a kind of a current version here on DVD. The guy that plays Jesus is the guy that played Desmond in Lost. Did you guys see Lost? Desmond was the guy down in the thing. He plays the best Jesus ever, almost. And every line of the whole movie is the Gospel of John. There's no dialogue. It's just big chunks of, it's the whole thing. It's not selected little pieces. It's the Gospel of John linear all the way through the movie. And when you see this guy acting out, saying the things that Jesus said in front of the Pharisees, I and my Father are one. I only do what the Father tells me. And they're all looking at him and saying, he's making himself... Because all it's in Scripture, but you read it and it doesn't have the impact it does to see what it was probably like back then when Jesus was actually doing this. So when you see that kind of stuff, I kind of point yourself back to where were we? Trying to answer something here.
Well, the loss of the zeal in the church.
Yeah.
Souls.
Yeah, so soft preaching and seeker-sensitive movement is kind of counterproductive to me. I've been in churches where they told me certain words I couldn't say. They said, we don't say the blood here. We don't call it the church, we call it the family. And they had a whole dialogue of different acceptable words that I was supposed to use, as a guest minister. And then I had one guy tell me, I did a Saturday night and Sunday services. They were all Sunday type services. You'd go on Saturday night and do your Sunday duty. So I did the Saturday night service. This was up in Canada. And I knew they were kind of a performance-oriented church, so I dialed my thing way back. I did my tracks. I had a 20-minute set. I did more of my songs. And at the very end, I led a little simple worship song, like, I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice, or something like that. So after the service, one of the elders comes over and he says, the pastor wants to meet with you, tonight before tomorrow's service. So I thought they were going to say, oh, good job, or something, clock changes tomorrow or something. I didn't know what it was about. So I get back there, there's about 4 elders in the pastor bag. They're kind of like, you can see they were, and well, you know, you did a great job and we enjoyed your presentation, but tomorrow, could you not do the worship song? Because we don't want to offend any non-Christians. It's like, oh, the smacking anointing is on me. I was very simple, and I got saved on the worship. I got saved on the anointing of the Holy Spirit through worship. You know, nothing's more evangelistic than worship. So some of these ideas are watered down, you know, made the church into a comfort zone for Christians, where we can go in nothing, it's going to be a cool message about what I need, not really confronting me about anything that I need changing in my life, sing some cool songs that we've learned, and be out in an hour and a quarter. That's a long service, sometimes it's an hour. And I find that all counterproductive to what, you know, I feel real Christianity is. But there is still that faithful remnant out there that's carrying the, you know, and right now, even the faithful remnant isn't particularly evangelistically oriented, but at least they're preaching an unadulterated gospel. And a lot of people that bring me in are those type of people, and I'm very proud that they are still the ones that respond to my ministry, because they're the people I respect the most. They're still bringing a straightforward gospel and are down on all the weird stuff that's out there. And, you know, it's good to be that way. So that's all I know. You know, I don't have all the answers. I just